Well, I think that there's a middle way between either being all sacked or continuing on the strike, and that is for when agreements are reached, that they should be honored and adhered to. But I have to say that I've reached the stage where I no longer know between ASUU and the federal government which of them needs to be pulled by the ear and told to think of something new to do with a situation which is acting to the detriment of Nigeria, of Nigerian students, of Nigerian children, and the nation in general. So actually, although I think that the strike threat is empty bombast, because if the lecturers are to be sacked, then let them be sacked. When the universities reopen, they will have to hire lecturers, and as we are complaining about the quality of our universities, I suppose that hiring people who don't even know even the A to B of lecturing is not going to resolve the problem.
Well, the government has not faulted the position of ASUU in the sense that there is an agreement willingly signed with the ASUU by the government in 2009, and that is the bone of contention. Having agreed that the government erred in not implementing that agreement, the president, that's President Goodluck Jonathan, met with us about 3 weeks ago to make a new offer in line with the agreement, and then ASUU went back and said, okay, your agreement is okay in principle, but can we adjust certain areas? That was all. So there is no basis for this provocative face-off by the government. And you guys in the media should please calling anybody a supervising minister in Nigeria. There is no such thing as supervising. You have acting ministers. You either have a substantive minister or an acting minister. We have no provision for supervising minister. Mr. Wike, Nyeson Wike, came out to provoke the lecturers by saying we are going to sack you, and after that we are going to advertise your positions and employ a new one. I'm sure anybody who is familiar with the university system will have appreciated that you cannot quickly replace professors, consultants, senior lecturers, readers, and associate professors. It takes ages to train them. And so that's why it's not going to be easy for the government to replace them. And in this age of brain drain, so one would like to advise the government to swallow its pride. Even under the worst form of military dictatorship, ASUU was never cowed to submission. I recall in 1992, the Babangida junta not only threatened to sack ASUU officials, it threatened to eject them from their accommodation, from their official quarters. As if that was not enough, the junta also made going on strike a treasonable felony. But ASUU remained unperturbed. It's the most organized trade union in Africa. And that is why the government has to swallow its pride, go back to the negotiation table with ASUU, and tidy up the loose ends of this agreement. There's no basis for the whole provocative, anybody can head the ministry, but you must be familiar and be committed to education, the promotion of education. I mean, you don't just put a politician who doesn't know his onions to head any ministry, not just Ministry of Education. Every ministry should be headed by people who are committed to the country. And we have enough people to run this country. And Nigerians are running many other parts of the world. You go to some of the best research institutes in the US or the United Kingdom, or you go to any of the hospitals, Nigerians are running them. So why can't we go for the best here?
The answer to this question is quite obvious. The government is in default. It's in breach of agreement. It has not yet fulfilled its part of the agreement. It is the one also belching fire and brimstone at the same time. It's a cover-up of the failure of the government to implement a proper educational policy, of its failure to demonstrate that it believes in good education for this country. All right, you now sack 10,000 lecturers. How is that going to promote education? Where are you going to get their replacement? Already we are very acutely short of academic staff. Most of our colleagues are abroad, where they are better treated, better respected, where the institutions and systems are much better. Then you say the few you have, that you should hoard very, very, proudly and securely, You say you do away without them. Then what you've done is to close down education and destroy the future of the country. If they want to do that, let them do it. Wike is not fit to be a minister of education. He's a man of muscle, of raw power and aggro. We need somebody who is intellectually oriented, not somebody who is going to use force and belch smoke and use caterpillar power and move everybody and turn everything upside down. That is not a mob-rousing approach that we need now. We need an intellectual, incisive type of person who has empathy for education, not to growl and belch and smoke. He's not fit for that position, so you should look for some other place for him.
The ultimatum given to ASUU to resume or be sacked is unconstitutional, it is illegal, it is undemocratic, it is draconian. Because ASUU had an agreement with the federal government since 2009. ASUU is merely saying, implement that agreement that you had with us. Under the law, under the Trade Unions Act, Section 30 of the Trade Unions Act, a strike is lawful if it is based upon a violation or breach of collective agreement or contract of employment. But Mr. President is a PhD holder. Mr. President was a former lecturer. The point is that those who are ruling are not ruling in the interest of ordinary people of Nigeria. Those who are ruling in their own selfish interest. Those who are ruling in the interest of the World Bank and world imperialism. They are not concerned about the well-being of the Nigerian people.
Somebody ought to caution the minister for making that kind of reckless statement.
I mean, how many unemployed professors do you have on the street? How many unemployed PhD holders do you have on the street? Were you just going to pick people who have never lectured before, then to fill up the space and take up the space and do what the other lecturers were doing? I think that statement, which government is attempting to deny, was very ill thought of, and it shouldn't have been made in the first place. ASUU leaders have said, we don't have any disagreement with government, we only have agreement, and let them implement that agreement. And I think that is solid.